Lately I've been thinking about this life and how it brought me here. Staring at this man in the mirror, I see him often here. Wipe my tears, only if you knew what I was going through.
Welcome to the Messages Hope Podcast, where the Hope stands for hearing other people's experience. My name is Adam.
My name is Mike, and today on the show we have my brother in recovery. He just took 18 months. This is not his first time in recovery. This is his second time, so we're going to talk about that today. And Rory, welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Rory. Yeah.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah. And I know Rory for the last 18 months, but prior to that too, right? And me and Rory, I met him at a meeting. We talked, gave him my number. We talked a few times after that, and then he disappeared. And then when he was finally ready to get to work, he made that phone call again. So I just want to say personally, I'm super proud of you, bro. You know, you come a long way, and yeah, man. So. And
I met you right after that, pretty much right when you came back in. Adam was like, "Hey, he was like, hey, you got to meet Rory." So since then, we've been doing this thing together. So thank you for coming, Rory. How are you?
Man, thank you guys for having me.
How are you?
I'm doing good. Grateful to be here. And I do remember that day that I called you. I was broken. I couldn't even pick up the phone. Yeah. And I was like just so fried, you know? And it took a lot in me. It took a lot of pain to want to be willing and to take suggestion and to see, because I know when I called you, you know, I couldn't think for myself. And one of the first things you were telling me is like, okay, let's go ahead and get you into treatment. Yeah. You know, let's see what we could do. And you started making phone calls right off the bat. Yeah. I'm so grateful for that, you know, and I ended up going through insurance. Yeah. But it was the best thing, you know. Yeah. I ended up going that day, I think. Yep. That day. And that call, I was just like, I couldn't even put a sentence together, bro. All I could tell you was just, I'm ready. Yeah.
You know what's funny is I thought he was an ex-client. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, Rory, who the fuck is Rory? You know? And so I thought you were an ex-client. And then, I started piecing things together. But, I remember, bro, you weren't just broken that day. Yeah. Right? You're broken for a few weeks, a month. You know what I'm saying? Every time we would talk, it was just like you were just so lost and confused and not sure about anything. And and you've had moments like that after that, but that first month, bro, I just remember I just remember thinking to myself, this dude needs to be fucking loved, bro. We need to get him into fucking put him in the circle, right? And it for me, man, when I meet a man, right, a young man, even a young woman, but for me, my thing's always men, right? And so when I meet a man and I'm like, this fool needs to be loved, the people I always send him to is gonna be Mike and fucking Juan, you know what I'm saying? Sergio, like all these people that I have in my life because I trust them. You know what I'm saying? I know what kind of program they work. I know who they are outside the meetings. I know who they are inside the meetings. I know their struggles. I know, you know, and so for me, it was man, meet me, you know, I always do that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's part of the process, right? Yeah. Hey, Mike, meet me at this meeting. I'm bringing this newcomer, right? He needs you guys, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's funny though now, Rory is one of those to me. So when I see somebody, I'm like, hey, you gotta meet Rory. Come meet him, you know? Yeah. Well, and it's pretty awesome how it goes full circle like that. Yeah.
Yeah. We all we recover together, bro.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So Rory, let's get started.
Okay.
Tell us about how you grew up, where you grew up. What was that like?
Okay. Well, I grew up in the San Bernardino Mountains. Okay. Up in Running Springs. And it was a much different area. I remember growing up, and we always had food in the fridge. I always had a roof over my head. We were always tight on money, but I had everything that I needed. And that was a huge blessing, you know, looking back on it. I remember my mom, she would always put the kids first, me and my two older sisters. And if it was sports, we did lots of sports. I was a hardcore athlete, always trying to go above and beyond. And I was really passionate about soccer specifically. So that was most of my childhood right there. I remember even going to games, and I would have to get a ride, and my mom always would make sure I had like $10 in my pocket in case they go to Subway after. Yeah. You know what I mean? And if she had to like clean houses or just do side jobs, she did it. And she's like, she wouldn't say, you know what, let's go shopping, let's go do this. No, she's like, this is for the kids. She always ended up putting us first. My father, growing up, we had a little bit of a rough relationship, me and him, all the way up from when I was little to high school. It was a lot of verbal and some physical abuse, not so much on that, but I just remember that when I was young, I looked up to him heavy, and I was like, man, I just want to be just like him, but I could never seem to make him happy. I feel like he was always mad at me. I ended up, probably after 10 years old, I ended up starting to fear him when he came home, because he didn't want to talk to nobody. I was, I just wanted a relationship. That's what I remember, is I just wanted a relationship. And that made me feel like something was missing most of my, my younger 20s. Yeah. So that kind of had an impact on me. I'll get into that too. You want me to start with where I started kind of getting into things in high school?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Wherever you want.
So up until I hadn't done or touched anything, smoked weed or done anything all the way up, I was in high school when that had started. I remember that my home life was kind of falling off a little bit. And it was affecting me in sports, and it was affecting me. And it wasn't just me, it was my two older sisters. I remember several times where my sisters wouldn't come home. They were spending the night with friends for weeks because they were afraid too of, and my mom didn't really have a say in all this. Of course, she wanted us home, but if my dad was the breadwinner, and what he says goes, my mom kind of just was like pushed to the side. She didn't really have a say, but she would cry a lot because she cared about us and how we felt. So I remember taking soccer very serious, being on varsity, and I think towards junior year, my grades just started slacking off. I remember that I wasn't able to play, and I think we needed something minimal, like a 2.0, and that's pretty basic, Yeah. And I couldn't do that, and I just started hanging around some of the wrong people, and since I feel like I wasn't cared for at home, I feel like I wanted to, do some things that might make someone want to care for me. Like, oh, look at this kid, he's headed the wrong way. I wanted someone to have empathy for me. I wanted someone to be like, hey man, let's, I wanted to feel loved and be steered in the right. I wanted guidance and a relationship, which I wasn't getting from my father. And so I first started off with smoking weed. And I think for like most people, I've heard this story too. I didn't feel anything. I probably didn't do it right, didn't inhale right or whatever. So, I had a friend. I looked at him like a brother, and we would play Sunday leagues together. He was super serious about soccer, just like me, very talented. And he had an uncle, and he was like, the one that sponsored us to getting into recreational stuff. He was the sponsor for sure. Yeah. And he'd be the one. I remember, that $10 I told you about, that my mom would make sure I had. Well, when I would go spend the weekend for tournaments or whatever, for soccer over the weekend, we spent that on old English. Right. Bro. And that was like the cheapest back then. It was like, what, $1 a can or something? So... and I remember going to soccer the next day, just like, man, I got to head the soccer ball. My head is spinning, like, just hung over. And it started off with alcohol, was like, okay, this is the go-to. Started going to high school parties. And And I think there was some like smaller experimenting, like with like a little bit of Xanax, and that during this time. And then there was later on there was Norcos.
Yep.
You know, and the Norcos I enjoyed because I felt like if you take one and you drink, it feels like you had 4 or 5 beers. So I was like, I just wanted to, you know. Well, anyways, all I know is when I was drinking, it was to get blasted drunk. You know? There was no, I'm just gonna sip it. No, we're gonna finish the bottle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
And so leading up to this point, senior year, my grades were so bad, I fell behind. I failed a few classes, and I went to continuation school, where I feel like the influence was much higher.
Yeah.
So I went on to continuation, and you know, started experimenting with the dusters too.
Yeah,
that was huge back then.
Yeah.
So, and
do you remember getting any attention or your parents noticing you using?
Not at all.
No.
The reason why is because I used the that image that in my reputation as like a soccer player, and you know, I'm in club. I'm in club. I'm on this team. We're ranked number 20 in the state type thing. Like, you know, we're great. I used that image to cover up whatever I wanted, and I knew I would get away with it and manipulate people because they would think that I was a good kid.
Right.
Look what he's doing. He's in sports. He's in this. You know, he seems pretty normal when you talk to him.
Yeah.
So, you know, it doesn't seem like, you know. Anyways, so to answer your question, I used that during this time. So this is right up around the time that I was going to get kicked out. And I started a year ahead. So when I graduated early. So I was 17. And I ended up getting kicked out at 17. And
of the continuation school?
No, of my house.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so as soon as I graduated, shortly after I graduated, I had a job, but I moved out. I remember that day. So I finished continuation, and I remember coming home, and my dad was just, you know, on the rails. He was really angry. Nothing could do please him, like make him happy in the household. Not enough chores, not enough good behavior could help him to be happy in the house. And I remember that I did one of the chores really half-ass, and he just blew up on me. And I remember that I had a truck that was cosign, and so that was my way to leave. And he said, you know, I want you out. And, you know, I told him, I said, I'm trying here, you know. Most of my years that the cops have came over to the house several times when I was a kid, and CPS too, to make sure that things were going smoothly. I went in therapy, different things. I mentioned this before I got kicked out, that I was like, look, man, I'm really trying, you know, and I just want you out. So I remember specifically making it really short. I said, you know what, you're going to lose a son today. And he said, I don't care. And that I don't care is what started the self-destruction of my using. I felt like since no one cares, then I'm just going to do whatever I want, you know? I felt invincible for a long time. So when I got kicked out, I was hanging, I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was living with her. And I was hanging out with some friends from San Bernardino down here. And my friends stayed right on.
Never hang out with friends from San Bernardino.
Yeah, dude. No, there's a lot of great people from San Bernardino. but like we just were partying all the time, and I was making small checks, you know. So I remember my friend introduced me to someone, and he had an 8-ball on him, coke.
Right.
And I was like, man, I want to try that.
Right.
I don't like weed because I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm saying. I'm not in control of my actions. And you're telling me that I could drink like 8 or 9 beers and this is going to sober me up?
Right.
Sounds fun.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Sounds fun to me. So I tried it and oh my gosh, bro. That first hit. And I remember it was really, really good shit. And I remember that I had so many drinks, mixed drinks. I had, taken a few other things like some painkillers, and I was just struggling, to keep myself in the moment. I was smoking some cigarettes too. And the first time I hit it, bro, it was like I was sitting there and someone turned the lights on in the room.
Yeah.
That's what I remember. Everything got bright. Like, wow, dude, I could drive. I wanted to talk. Like, don't talk, bro. I'm talking. So,
I'm not done yet.
Yeah, all that. I know this has been mentioned on the other episodes, but it was like, dude, all that worrying and everything else was it was over, bro. Once I took that first hit. Now this is where it's at, man. Like, and it was off from there. From the very beginning, for the first year or so, it was on weekends and stuff like that. I was able to manage not using it every day. And then over the years, it got over to okay, maybe use it to wake up in the morning, or let me just enjoy myself when I get off work. Let me reward myself. I had a long day at work.
Right.
To okay, I need this. It snowballed very quickly, very fast. So I remember. I know that the work field I'm in, I work with the union, and a lot of people in my field, they like to reward themselves and live that kind of lifestyle. Yeah. So I ended up getting a good job, a couple years down the line. And once I started making good money, oh, dude, I didn't know what to do with myself.
Right.
So I remember being at one job, and it was getting out of hand. Anyways, I wanted to fast forward to the job where I'm currently at. Yeah. I'm not gonna say the name, but I brought this bad habit into this job.
Right.
And I couldn't keep a job. And I just figured, I knew I wanted to work at this place specifically since I was in high school. Mm-hmm. I wanted to work here, bro. And I was just throwing it away the whole time. So once I got in, I was taking painkillers. In my job field, we get paid by how fast we work. So the faster you work, the more you get paid. And I'm young buck. Right. I want to make as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And anything that'll make me better, if it's a stimulant or something that ease the pain in my back so I could lift more boxes, lift more cases, run faster, anything, bro. I was taking it. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
how old are you now, Rory?
26.
26.
Yeah,
okay.
26. So from 18, I've been with the union. I'm 26 now. So I'm gonna coming up on 9 years.
Good, bro.
So, but being at this place, I just remember over a period of time that when I started here, I hadn't been in trouble yet. And I started getting into trouble. Just using wasn't the same anymore. It was good in the beginning. It was working. I was able to feel, the effects, but soon they stopped working. Yeah. I was having to take more and more. It was changing me slowly and slowly. And I was so arrogant in I loved that when I was able to take some of these painkillers and some of these stimulants, or when I got that liquid confidence, I loved the power it gave me. Like it made me like feel like I was so like aggressive and in charge, like I'm a man, like this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Look, I did it without my father. Look, I made it. I got the job that I wanted. I did what I said I was gonna do, and I didn't need help from anybody. Look at me. Like I'm like, I had something to prove. When in reality, you know, I shouldn't have been proving anything to anyone. Just, you know, why do I have to prove something to someone?
Well, not getting it from your father, obviously,
right,
was what motivated that, right?
Right, absolutely,
right.
Absolutely.
So when you say trouble, do you mean at work or what kind of trouble?
Both. So, right before I started this job, I ended up picking up a DUI, and so that was 2019, the summer of 2019, I picked up that DUI, which never happened. It was thrown away because once COVID happened, the courts were so backed up that they couldn't file in the time that they were given. So I was saved. And I remember being in touch with my mom at the time, and she was so worried. And I was like, oh, don't worry about it. And I went to the DMV the day they couldn't do it, and they gave me my license back. And I was like, oh, dude, great. So 2019, after I got the DUI, I went to my first treatment center. I went to...
absolutely.
Yeah. So I went to IVRS Upland.
Yeah.
And
you're not the only person in this room. And you're not the only person that came on the podcast that's been to IVRS and Upland.
So
I've graduated twice.
Graduated twice. Yeah.
Got loaded after every time. That's not a reflection of that program.
No.
Yeah.
You know, let me just say this. If you relapse, I don't give a fuck how bad or how good or how fancy or how ghetto the treatment center you went to. If you relapse after a treatment center, it has absolutely nothing to do with the treatment center. Absolutely everything to do with you, your actions, your behaviors, and what you make, the choices you make. Bro.
Absolutely.
You know? And IVRS is actually a high-end government-funded place.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like they're not, they got a really good facility.
Yeah,
they got really good staff. They got a really good thing going, and they help out people a lot, bro. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them. I mean, this isn't an advertisement, but it's still a shout out to them. I remember they wanted to give me a car, and I didn't have a driver's license, so they couldn't give me a car. But they literally wanted to give me a car that was donated to them, and I couldn't. They couldn't give it to me because I didn't have a driver's license. Yeah,
yeah. So 2019, after the DUI, you know, I was using pretty heavy around that time. I want to say I was old enough to buy alcohol. I was probably just turned 21, maybe.
Okay.
So I had a good job. Right. And so I had a good job. I got the DUI. I was in touch with my mom, and she's like, where is all the money going that you're making? I told her, I was like, oh, I made X amount of money this year. You're like, where is it? Are you kidding me? You're how old and where is it? You know, you don't have money to get your car out of the impound, like, cause they impound it, you know? And I think it was like $500, $600, like check to check, spending crazy amounts on, you know, cocaine mainly. That was my main one.
It's expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
yeah, it's one of the most expensive ones out there.
Yeah. So was the lifestyle too. I remember paying for everything. Like I was blessed with such a good job at the time. Not that kids my age didn't have that, but it was like power I wasn't ready to have. And a lot of friends my age, they were like, no, I can't go because I don't have it. But I'd just be like, just come with me, bro. Just come and hang out. I'll pay for it. And pay for them to get in a club or just for the alcohol, everything, the gas. And it wasn't like they were mooching. I just didn't want to be alone.
Yeah.
And so
you talked about like the power aspect of getting loaded too, right?
Right.
So
absolutely.
Like the power of being the man, the power of like, here, I got you, the power of like, I'll treat you, right? Like that has power to it too, bro.
You and me have talked about that a lot over the last couple months for sure. And that was a huge role, always trying to prove myself, you know? So when I went to IVRS, I I did 30 days there. 30, and I remember it was an experience for sure.
Yeah.
Bro, I went in and they said, oh, you know what, pack a bag. And I was like, I started packing everything, and they're like, is this cologne? Is there alcohol? Is alcohol-based cologne? Like, they took everything. I was like, I can't have cologne? What are you talking about? They were like, people are going to drink that in here. Dude, I was like, what are you talking about, bro? And I seen someone with, they call it where they turn yellow. You know, I haven't seen, I was an experience for me, dude, because where I grew up. Jaundice, yeah. I seen someone with jaundice, or people were detoxing and they were barely able to get out of bed. And I learned that people can hallucinate from detoxing alcohol. Yep. I started learning a bunch of stuff in those 30 days, you know? So this is where it really opened my eyes. Like, okay, this is, you know.
Much more than substance use.
I want to make this clear, bro. Yeah. I remember meeting someone there, and they told me that they've been to treatment 6 times.
I've been 5.
So have I.
Yeah.
No. I remember that day I said, like, that's not me.
Yeah.
Not me, bro. Get out of here. I'm not like you guys.
Yeah.
And that hindered me for a long time. I'm not like them. Why am I going to say I'm an addict? Like, I'm just going to be, you know, why would I lower myself?
Yeah.
But I wasn't hearing the message, bro. I didn't want to hear it. Those steps on the wall at IVRS were foreign words to me. And I remember looking at them as inventory. I don't even know what that word means, inventory. I pick cases for a living, bro. I didn't go to college. So anyways, on my coin out for the 30 days, I don't think they usually do that, but they did with me. There was a lot of people. There's 60 people on that floor. Yeah. And my mom came, dude, for the coin out. And she wasn't going to take me home that day. I had to stay one more night, but my coin out was that day. And I remember my mom it was 60 men in a circle, and my mom was on the outside watching. And, you know, everyone said, oh, man, you seem like a bright kid, this, that, saying good things, right? And my mind was already in relapse mode. Yeah. I knew I was already going to relapse. And I remember I said, I was thinking, now that I'm thinking about it, I was going to say something so that I could gain my mom's trust back.
Right.
So I could prepare myself for my next run.
Right.
And what I did was I apologized to her in front of all 60 men, and she cried, bro. The next afternoon, I was already loaded. Yep. I had someone pick me up. My mom was like, I thought I was picking you up. Oh, I'm good. I ended up getting a ride. Don't worry about it. Then off to the runs again. So I ended up getting this new job. And each time, you know, I'm very fortunate and thankful that the union has been able to help me. And so I got this new job, the one that I always wanted, and I brought this habit. Can't stop using.
Yeah.
And now I'm buying whatever I want, you know, no limits. And I remember that it was 2020, the end of 2020, and I had to tell my union representative that I went over on points. I was calling off so much, and I went over the limit they give you, and I knew it, that I went over, and I told him, hey, bro, I don't want to lose this job. And he said, okay, there's only one way. And I told him, man, I have a problem, you know? And he said, okay, we'll get you situated. So they sent me to my first treatment through the company.
Yeah.
And I did another 30-day outpatient just to make things right with the company. So the first time I went, it was because, you know, I was lost. I went to treatment. I was kind of lost. I didn't know where to start. Like, okay, I was using a little bit too much. Maybe I needed it. Maybe I didn't. Second time, I did it to keep my job. Okay. And 30 days. And each one of these like relapses or these relapses, it was very short after that I went back to the streets. Like I tried to keep it for at least a month. The second time, I think I tried to keep it for at least a month. And then just being young, 21, 22 years old, I wanted to, you know, have fun, let loose. Like, I want to reward myself. It usually always started off with alcohol, you know, like but as soon as I got a taste of the liquor, I'm like, I need what you know, my drug, the one that's going to get me going. I need it. So, so a year later, I went again, third time. And this one, I remember things were getting really out of hand. I remember drinking every day. And then, but my thing was I couldn't stop the paranoia. I was a user of cocaine. I had to use the bag until it was empty. There was none. If it was 9 o'clock at night and I still got a half a bag left, I'm going to be like, oh man, tomorrow's going to be the worst day at work tomorrow because I'm not sleeping, you know? I'm not going to be sleeping. I'll be like 1 a.m. I'm looking outside the window. I'm like, these neighbors are watching me, bro. Like I would be looking out the window. So this third time I ended up moving back in with my mom. And my mom ended up getting a divorce. So we thought it was a good idea. Look, I have a good job. And, you know, she's working too. But we kind of we're like, let's just make this work. Yeah. And, bro, I put my mom through so much at that house. Because I went 5 times to treatment. So the third time she was there, I was able to get on disability and get paid out for it. Yep. So the fourth time was 3 months after that. 3 months after that. I want to say it was January. Yeah. So I don't know. It was at the end of, I'm sorry. So 21. Yeah. So in 2020, the end of 2020, I went for a treatment, and then 2021, January was the fourth time. So, I remember that I went back out on the streets, and I was just, now it was alcohol, and alcohol was just heavy, bro. Heavy, absolutely heavy. And I started to realize something, that maybe if I just drown it with liquor, I won't get that paranoia, which was absolutely true. Yeah. And so I would just be like, okay, so every time I started to get that kind of like jittery, shaky feeling, like, okay, maybe that was too much, started slamming the liquor. No chaser, specifically whiskey. Yeah. I was a whiskey guy. Was. So, I think it's January 27th. I'm using at my house. My mom's not home. And I remember I'm paranoid out of my mind. And I remember I got a phone call. And it was my sister, Kristen, that's 1 year older than me. And she calls me and she's like, you know, with the sweetest voice, she's like, hey, bro, I'm just doing a wellness check on you. And I was like paranoid. I was trying to get her off the phone. You know, she was like, I was like, yeah, I'm fine. You know, leave, you know, what is it? Do you need something? What is it? You know, I kind of got to go. And she stopped me, bro. And she said, I want you to know before I get off the phone that I love you. And I went out that night, later that night. And when I was driving to work the next morning, I got pulled over for going 125. I was going to be late to work. And I wasn't in a lane on the freeway. I was in the shoulder. And this guy pulled up on me so quick, bro. He pulled up on me so quick. So that day, I skipped work. I'm fired. That's a no call, no show. That's it. The job is done. The truck impounded. I remember I had no money to get anything out, just using. And I made a phone call to my mom. You know, I'm down here. Can you come pick me up when it's time? And my mom had this voice where she's like, you could just hear the fear and like the upset and the anger. She's like, why are you doing this to yourself? You're so young. Like, you know, why can't you stop seeing me come home with black eyes, like just from no sleep, not getting punched, just tired, you know, angry, aggressive. No one can talk to me. The behaviors, I think everyone is against me, you know? She picked me up with my brother-in-law from my oldest sister. And they grilled me hard. They grilled me hard, bro, when I got in that car. So I went home and I slept all the way until the next day. I woke up, it was nighttime. And I'm worried. I'm trying to get into treatment to save my job. I called the union and told them I missed work. Like, hey, man, like, I got pulled over, this and that. Like, you know, I got to do what I got to do, you know. And after, like, being worried and scared all day, like, I just lost everything that was important to me. Now, I was not homeless. I want to, like, be specific. I was not homeless. I was not... you know, I didn't have kids. Like I felt like my low was much higher than others, right? I had a roof over my head. I had running water in the house, food in the kitchen, you know, everything was, but what meant a lot to me was getting my life started, you know? This job was something I held on to. That was what I was looking forward to. I wanted it so bad, and I can't keep it. I can't stay clean, and I didn't know how or where to start. Because this is the fourth time I'm going to treatment. What do you think is, like, what am I going to learn now? I've done the classes. I've learned about playing the tape through. I've learned about people, places, and things. Why can't it work for me? Why can't I say no? No, I just wanted to be able to tell someone, no, I can't hang out tonight. No, I'm not going to go drink with you. No, I'm not. I don't want to pick up. No, I don't want to get high. And I'm using against my own will. You know, and how do you stop that?
Right.
So the next morning, it's nighttime, and I go to the kitchen, and I get a phone call, and he says, "Get your mom in the room." This is my brother-in-law, from my oldest sister. Get your mom in the room. I put her on speaker, and he says that my sister is no longer with us. Kristen, my middle. And so my mom is over here taking care of a child, me, that can't stop using. He's putting her through all kinds of stress. Her daughter is gone. And I'm broken. I don't know how or what to feel. I just remember my mom screamed, and it was like it sent shivers down like my soul, bro. Like I was right there, and I opened the door and I left. Something in me told me to call my dad, and I ended up calling him after 5 or 6 years later. And I asked him for his address, and I drove to his house. And he comes running out of the house, and he's like, my daughter's gone. My daughter's gone, like just crying his eyes out. This is the first time we've talked in 5 or 6 years, and I had so much resentment. I pointed at him, and I told him, this is your fault. I wanted to blame someone, bro. I wanted to get high. Like, this is, like, do you know what I've been through in the last 5 or 6 years? Do you know what it's like to be an addict and not be able to use against your will? Do you know what that's like? It's like, I heard someone use this. I what did it say? A metaphor or whatever. It's imagine you haven't drank any water for 3 days, and you sit down with someone, and there's a glass of water on the table in front of you. But you have to pay attention to what this person is saying to you. You can't pay attention. You're only thinking about getting that glass of water and drinking it. That's what resonated with me a lot. I can't wake up without thinking about it. I can't go a few minutes without it. Every time someone talks to me, I want to see if they use, so we could talk about our funny stories together. Like after work, I got my stuff loaded in the car. It's taken over my life.
Yeah.
Now it's survival. Mm-hmm. I love that. A part of in the I think it talks about it in the 12th step. It talks about like we were living in survival.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I was just I remember this is gonna sound really sick, but I want some of the viewers to see how drugs manipulated my thinking and how sick I was. So that if there's other people that think like, I came from a good home, okay? And my thinking ended up being like this. I'll give you guys insight. I remember that when my sister passed, I was going to use this to exploit my using.
Yeah.
I wasn't concerned about what happened. Where did it happen? What are we going to do? Where's the funeral going to be? I was absent the whole time. I don't even know who paid or how everything happened. I remember that my using was just, bro.
Comes first.
Yeah, for sure. Loaded everywhere.
Yeah.
Drinking and driving. This is my excuse to get high and do what I want. Now I have an excuse to get high. No one can tell me now I lost a sibling. That's sick. I wasn't thinking about, man, I love I love my sister so much. I'm not going to be able to see her again. I'm not going to be able to hug her again. I'm not going to be able to talk to her again. Now that I've been, over the last 18 months, I'm still a newcomer, but over the last 18 months, I've had thoughts of, I wish I could just call my sister and I wish she would pick up the phone so I could tell her how much I love her. And I wasn't thinking about that in the moment, bro. Like I was so sick. I was so far gone already. And I'm shaking. Like I feel I can't really the next part was my sister, she passed in another state. So since COVID was happening, they were so backed up and they can't ship the body unless there was an autopsy. So we ended up getting her body about 2 months later and to the funeral home. And they received it and they put her in the dress that my mom picked out and they did her hair and everything. And my sister, me, and my mother went to go see her the day before the funeral. I don't know if it was the day before or a few days before. And we went in and I think I went first. If my sister's listening, I don't know if she went first. And I went in and I said, that's not my sister. So I ended up calling the lady and I said, you guys received the wrong body. And then my mom and Regine, my oldest sister, went in. And they went in and they were like, well, that's not her. So the lady came back and she's like, look, this is her. This is her body, okay? We have her belongings. And I said, oh, I got a great idea. On her, right by her elbow, there's a birthmark in the shape of a circle. And I remembered it was on her left arm. And I said, can you find it? She said, okay, step out and we're going to move her arm and find it. I come back and I'm looking at the birthmark and I'm looking at her face. And bro, if my heart wasn't broken before when I found out her that she passed, it cracked my spirit. I said, oh my gosh, the sister that I grew up with, the one that I used to play with, go sledding with, the one I used to laugh with, walk past through the hallways in high school, I couldn't recognize her. This is the last time I'm going to see her and I don't even recognize her because it was so far out 2 months later. And, bro, it just haunted me, man. And I ended up going home and I feel like I was just trying to die. Like, not enough cocaine could kill me. Not enough pills could kill me. Not enough alcohol. Why isn't it killing me? You know? Mm-hmm. Why isn't it working? Like, why shouldn't my heart have given out by now? A few days later, or I think the next day, there was a gap, and there was like a series of events of pain, and I just wanted to touch on these ones. I was locked in my room for like 2 days, didn't come out of my room. I had gallons of liquor, and I was just in there, and I remember that I was so high from the stimulants that like when I tried to take more painkillers, that I would open up the medicine bottle and the pills just shot everywhere. And I wouldn't even try to put it back in. I was, so the pills were everywhere. There's bottles of liquor everywhere. And my mom comes home 2 days later and she's like, Rory, open the door. Worst case scenario when you're high, huh? You don't want people to bother you. You know, you're paranoid, like looking out the window, who's here, this, that. And I opened the door and she just screamed again. And she was like, you know, I'm going to lose 2 kids. She's crying. And I remember that if I wasn't scared before either, I was scared now because she's right. But I don't know how. I'm lost, bro. Rehab is not working for me. So when she said that, I was scared, so scared. And she's going to lose 2 kids. And I said, she's right. I don't know where to start. So I was just trying to justify my using to get one more. Like, that doesn't work. Meetings don't work. You know, rehab doesn't work. There's nothing for me. Anyways, we end up having the funeral. I spoke. I was the only one that spoke. Someone gave the eulogy, and I spoke after, and then no one else from my family spoke. And I got loaded really heavy after that. So, well, anyways, I ended up doing a treatment. When I was in treatment, that's where I met my sponsor. I met him at a meeting in Redlands, and exchanged numbers, and it was my program. I didn't call him every day. Started step 1. I said, well, you know what? Like, I'll call you when I'm done with step 1. No, bro, you gotta call me every day. Like, started off like that. So that was my 4th treatment, and I started to get a little bit of a foot in the door. Like, okay, maybe let me just see what it is. But as soon as I got out of treatment and I found out that the company was going to keep me again, right back out. This is my last run right here. How much time do I have?
You're good.
Oh, I'm good? Okay. So this is my last run right here. And I wanted to say that it is definitely true in my experience that every time I relapse, it comes back twice as fast and twice as heavy. Mm-hmm. Whatever I had left off with, dude, I set the bar way higher. You know, and I'm not proud of that. I just, this was alcohol dominant was mine. And I had never experienced, you know, that before. It was always cocaine. But for alcohol, on this one, I think I was calling my sponsor for about 2 months, like once a week, maybe, or maybe every 2 weeks. And I just check in. You know, obviously he knew that I was not serious about it. And I knew I wasn't. I just wanted to do it my way. Like, as long as I had the gym or as long as I was going to work every day, I'll be all right. So I was doing good for about a month after this, right? After I got out of treatment, and the company needed to see me doing well. So I kept my head straight for a little bit, using on the side once in a while. And then I remember it just took off like 1 week. Like, it was every day. Okay, let me just... Anyways, I want to get to the alcohol. This run was 1 year long, almost to the date. And it was just, you know, either trying to chase women or trying to get more. And I was just drinking to stay alive. I want to say that in such a short period of time, I feel like I experienced detox or withdrawal symptoms with this, and the painkillers mixed. This was the first time I started feeling like, because I was young, I felt like I bounced back really quick. The other relapses, this one was not. I remember dry heaving every morning. I remember shaking and being cold all the time. I remember that sometimes I would like have like mild hallucinations. Sometimes it was probably because I was trying to take NyQuil to go to sleep. You know, that, and then the alcohol and all the other stuff. Like, my body just didn't know what to do, bro. I remember that in the morning, I would be shaking and I needed a pint specifically. You know, I have to drink the whole pint just to get up and brush my teeth and make breakfast and get through the day. Right. This is before I left the house to go to work. Then when I get to work in the parking lot, I needed a half. I started getting technical with it because I need to have enough confidence to talk to a supervisor and get ready for work. So if they talk to me, I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? You know, I'm good. And I couldn't do that if I had cocaine in my system. I couldn't put my words would be all jumbled up. I'd be shaking, paranoid. And so it was just alcohol dominant. As soon as I got off work, I was just off the rails, bro, drinking crazy amounts. And yes, this was every day. So I remember during this time I was hanging out with a lot of the wrong crowd. And I remember that when I was hanging out with the wrong crowd, you know, I would do a lot of party favors, like, oh, come on, I'll get you high, bro. I just picked up, you know, type thing. I was very generous. I just wanted to be socially accepted during this period if I was hanging out with others and using. And one of the guys that I was getting high with, he pulled a gun on me. And he said he grabbed the my dope, and he was like, you know, I don't know about you, bro, but I'm taking this. And I said, you know what, bro? No, you're not. And he's way bigger than me. And I remember he pistol whipped me because I wouldn't back down. I said, man, my sister. I remember telling him, like, my sister just passed, bro. You do what you got to do. I'll go see her I'll be with her in a few minutes. You do what you got to do, bro. And he pistol whipped me. I remember that those people that I called friends just watched. I remember that the family from everyone has their own lives. The family from the funeral, some, not everybody, said that whatever you need, go ahead and call me. I remember calling everybody during this time. No one would pick up the phone. Hey, is there a time I could call you or text you? And it was, no one was getting back to me. I felt alone. I was isolated. My friends turned their back on me. This was just driving my using more and more and more. And this last month was just, I was going to work and it was super sloppy. There was a part where I was being all right with it. I was drinking really heavy, but I could hold it. And then things just got sloppy out of nowhere. So during this time, I went to work and the stimulants were not working that day. And I remember doing these, do you know the neti pot?
Yeah.
The neti pot, I would flush my sinuses so that I could get a better hit of some of the stimulants, you get clogged up there,
Yeah.
So I got to be a responsible addict. So anyways, right before I went to work, I told myself I don't want to use. I'm going to do something I've never done before. And I reached out and I prayed. And I remember saying, I don't know who I'm praying to. You've been nowhere. I can't see you. Why have you let me have this? Like, I would rather be ill with some sickness than this disease that I have. I can't stop using. I don't know what to do. So I said, you know what? Like, I'm done. I'm broken. I'm sad. I'm grieving. I'm angry that I can't do this. I'm frustrated. Every feeling. And I said, look, if you're real, show me. That night, I lost my job. Mm-hmm. And I didn't care. What good is it having the job that I've always dreamed of if I can't keep it? I can't even keep a job at Jack in the Box, probably, if I have this problem, this disease. I can't, do anything about it. So I can't live my life. I went to work. I was in my truck on lunch, and I just was drinking, and I passed out. The stimulants didn't pick me up. When they opened the door, they found me like 2-3 hours later. They opened the door, my truck was running, and there's all kinds of liquor in the car. The smell was probably wretched, bro. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if they ended up seeing anything else, but anyways, the security swarmed me. They said, just stay here. We just called EMS. We called the EMS over. And I got this shot of adrenaline, like, I'm not going to get another DUI. They're going to take me in. I can't do that. So I fled. I left, bro. And I remember I went home. My mom was like, why are you home so early? And I just said, I just left work early. And I went and I just wanted to sleep. Drove home. Went to sleep. And the next morning, I gave my sponsor that call that we talked about earlier in the podcast. I'm ready, bro. I'm ready. I don't know where to start, but I need to do something. And all those times that I had went to treatment before, it was because of X, Y, and Z. And finally, after enough pain, I want to do it for myself. I want my life back. I don't know who I am anymore. This isn't me, this person, that I created. And I went to treatment, and I took suggestion. I tried to call my sponsor on blackout, they get your phone once a week at this place that I was at. And I went to meetings until I started wanting to go to meetings.
Yeah.
And this is just my experience and what happened with me. And I remember starting, the next few steps. And I remember being in treatment. I did 100 days in there. And I actually tried in groups. When they asked me tough questions, I'd be like, you know what, this is how I feel about it. I remember playing a lot of victim in the very beginning. Like, bro, I don't have anyone here. Like, I already burnt all the bridges with my family. I burnt all the bridges with my oldest sister, my mother, my dad. We don't have a good relationship. Friends. There's no one. It's just me in here, which was completely wrong. My higher power was looking out for me.
Right.
And I got introduced to some of my sponsee brothers. Through the process of the treatment, there's more levels that were more freedom. And I, was able to go to a little bit later meetings. Sometimes I was able to get a ride as long as they met them. I think even, Adam, you met some of the counselors, right? Yeah, they made sure. Man, I just was, I was willing.
Yeah.
I was willing, bro. So.
There was I've seen you come in here, bro. And the beautiful thing is, right, is I got to see you cry. I got to see you struggle. I got to get phone calls when you're screaming and you're yelling and you're frustrated. And right. I shared at a meeting last night, fucking the growth and the recovery process doesn't always fucking feel good. It's not supposed to, bro. You know what I'm saying? When you go work out and you fucking hit it hard, bro, what happens? Your body hurts, right? You're tired as fuck the next day. You feel low and all that stuff, right? And so it's the same thing with spiritual, mental, and emotional growth, bro. There's some pain, there's some hardship, there's some days where, fuck, bro, I can't even count how many days I screamed in my fucking car or cried in my car or fucking was mad at the fucking world, right? But it's all a part of the process. And I'm a firm believer, bro, that pain is a great teacher of life, bro. Right? When the pain gets to a point where I cannot behave this way no more, I cannot live this way no more, I can't keep doing this shit over and over again, something fucking changes in us, bro. But we have to be willing, right?
Right.
And I just want to say, bro, and me and you, we talked about this a lot, bro, because a lot of times we could compare ourselves. Well, I didn't do this, or I wasn't here, or I wasn't there. But there's everybody has there's a physical bottom, right? The job, the car, the house, the home, the family, right? But what's much deeper than that, which sets in my spirit a lot more, is the spiritual bottom. Right? I could get used to being homeless. I could get used to being kidless, bro. You take my kids away from me, in a few years, I'll be good. You know what I'm saying? I'll be straight. Right? Mike talks about this all the time, bro. Yeah. Before he got clean, or when he got clean, he realized, man, when's the last time I talked to my kids?
Yeah.
Right?
That hit me.
Yeah. And sometimes we get used to that shit.
Yeah.
But what I couldn't get used to, right? And I know what you couldn't get used to, and I know what Mike couldn't get used to, is how we felt about ourselves.
Yeah.
Right? That using against our own will, bro. If you wake up in the morning and say, I'm not going to get loaded today, I'm not going to drink today, I'm not going to do, and you still, that's using against your own will, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because my will is I want to do something fucking different, right? But the disease's will is for me to get fucking loaded, and I always end up fucking getting loaded, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, I've seen you through this whole fucking last 18 months, bro. You know what I'm saying? And you fucking come such a fucking far place. And I seen you when you were fucking loaded, and when you weren't, I knew you weren't working a fucking program, bro.
Right.
I knew it, dog. And I'll tell you one thing, bro. I'm not here to carry anybody. Mm-hmm. Period. I don't give a fuck who you are. You meet me at a meeting, cool. Call me. You want to call me? You want to talk? Cool. I will hold your fucking hand, bro. You know what I'm saying? I will hold your hand. I will walk side by side with you. But if you don't want to fucking walk, bro, I'm not gonna fucking carry you. Right? That goes against my mental health. That goes against my spirituality, and it goes against my program because my sponsor held my hand. He didn't fucking carry me. He wasn't like, come on, Adam, it's time to get to a meeting. Like, come on, Adam, work your fucking step, man. He said, look it, if you want what we have, do what we do. If you don't want to do what we do, guess what? You're not going to have what we have.
Right.
Right? And so, like, I seen that. And sometimes, man, like, and Mike could relate to this too, but sometimes we need a relapse. Sometimes we need to end up in those fucking fucked up positions where it's like, okay, everybody here has thought we could do it our own way.
Yeah, I have.
You know what I'm saying?
I tried a bunch of times.
Yeah.
And it had to get painful enough. Mm-hmm. And that, I was going to mention that is like sometimes the only way I learn is when it hurts. You know?
Right.
Like when it doesn't hurt that bad, I don't learn.
No.
No. It has to be uncomfortable. It has to hurt. It has to be bad. Every time I got clean or every time I went to treatment, it's because something bad had just happened. Mm-hmm. Every single time.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Something that happened was like, I got to do something different. And then you separate yourself from that and you feel like you got control again.
Yeah.
And I did that 4 times, just like you.
Yeah.
You know? And it was bad enough this last time. I had tried it every which way, my way, try to manipulate the situation to work in my favor. And I got loaded every time until the last time where it almost killed me.
Yeah.
And then it was bad enough. Then I was willing enough. Mm-hmm. So.
And here's the secret. Stop fucking trying to do things your way.
Yeah.
Like, for real. Like, any newcomers out there, like, you've been to meetings, you've been in and out of meetings, bro, stop. Stop, bro. Like, when we talk about surrender, it's not just surrender to God, right? That for me, surrendering to God came later.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that at the beginning, bro. I felt like God didn't like me. I didn't like him. I don't want nothing to do with you, right? I might pray, but, I mean, there's not really a strong belief there. Like, I could not surrender to a God of my understanding because of all the times I felt, and this was just my way of looking at things. It's not how I look at it now, right? But in early recovery, I felt like, how can I turn my will over to you, right? How can I surrender to you when you have let me down so many fucking times? You have abandoned me. You have left me for fucking dead. You fucking took family members. You fucking allowed me to get touched. Like, how am I supposed to surrender to you?
Right.
So I couldn't do that in early recovery. My early recovery, my surrender was, I'm surrendering to the program. I'm going to do everything these fucking people say. That's as good as it got for me. You tell me to pray, cool, I'm going to pray, but I'm not praying wholeheartedly. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like it just, I did it because people told me to do it. In some literature, right, it talks about how, like, just believe that we believe. Yeah. Right? Allow our belief to be strong enough for you to believe in something, you know? And so, like, that's what it was for me. My higher power was a group. My higher power was a meeting. My higher power was my sponsor. My higher power was my step work until I was able to build a strong enough relationship with a God, right? And I was able to do an inventory, right? That inventory you're talking about, and realize, like, how God has protected me, right? And been there for me every step of the way, even when I felt like he wasn't. And then that's when things started to change with my relationship with God. And it's still changing. It's still growing. It's still learning. I'm still, like, building a belief system that I want to live by, right? I'm still doing all that stuff. But, like, it's important for me, even to this day, all right, with 11 and a half years clean, it's important to me to not go off of my, I go off of my own understanding. I go off my own will sometimes, right? But it's important for me to have people to bounce ideas off of, right? Like, me and you had a conversation the other day, right? And you were like, bro, you just always know what to say. And bro, it's not that I always know what to say. It's because we need outside perspective. We need somebody who's outside of the box to look in the box and say, this is where you're messing up. Because when you're in the box, all you know is the box, and you're unable to see outside of that, right? And so we get people to look out from outside. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that, and you're right in the middle of it, you're emotionally invested, and that blurs your vision.
Oh, yeah.
It's like you don't have your glasses on, bro. Like,
I'm not that blind, all right?
Being emotional overcomes logic sometimes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then sometimes logic, right, for Mike, overcomes fucking emotions.
It does.
Yeah.
I'm wired that way.
Yeah, and there's something called the wise mind. I'm just bringing this point up, right? There's something called a wise mind, and a wise mind is a a balance of logic and a balance of emotions, right? That's what a wise mind is. We're not just basing everything off of logic, and we're not just basing off of everything emotion, and we kind of bring them together. They meet in the middle. Okay, like, how do I feel about this, and what do I think about this, right? So my whole point of that spill, because honestly, I had a lot of shit to say while you were sharing.
Yeah.
But I was like, just shut up, Adam. Let this motherfucker get through this, because it was really good, bro, right? Yeah. But like, what I want to tell you is over the last 18 months, bro, I seen this kid, right? Because you were, what, 24? Right? Yeah, you're
25.
25 when you got clean. I seen this kid who was scared of everything, right? Who was fearful of not being able to make it, who lost his job, who had these DUIs that he had to take care of. He had all this stuff, and like, I seen you blossom into the man that you are today, right? Does that mean the work's done? Does that mean you're completely healed? Absolutely not. Nobody at this fucking table was completely healed by any fucking means. But like, we build strength and we build courage. Right, we get to be men today, bro. Not what we thought were men out there. Like, I'm gonna be the man and just give you some dope. I'm gonna be the man and fuck this bitch. I'm gonna be the man and I'm not I'll fight you and you go put a pistol to my face and I'm not gonna be scared. Like not in a man of that sense, but in a man like in the sense of like great leaders, bro. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like Martin Luther King, fucking Malcolm X, like these men who fucking stood on like values and morals and that fucking just. Fucking, that's who we get to be today, bro. Right. That's a fucking powerful place to be, bro. Right? Yeah. To be able to say, you know what, this is who the fuck I am. If you don't like it, you will get the fuck away. Right. I don't need your validation. I don't care if you think I'm weak. I don't care if you think I'm soft. I don't care if you think any of those fucking negative fucking condescension that I felt were, bro, you call me weak or soft back in the days, bro, it was a fucking problem. You know, it still is a problem. You know what I'm saying? Like, I still have a hard time with those words, right? But we get to be different men today, and I've seen that in you, bro.
Thanks, man.
Right?
The what I was gonna say to that is, talking about being the man. Mm-hmm. What I thought was a man, trying to belittle people or being aggressive, whatever it was completely wrong. But some of the most manly stuff was step work, bro. Oh yeah. And why? Because it's uncomfortable. And I feel like men do things that are uncomfortable. Men do things that we don't want to do, like going to work every day or just daily things we don't want to do. And a lot of the stuff I didn't want to do. I don't want to pray for the removal of some of these shortcomings. I like some of them, so I don't want to talk to my higher power about that because I want to keep it, But yeah, man. So
and you're right, bro. The most manly shit I've ever done, bro, is cried. The most manliest shit I've ever done, bro, is like work steps. The most manliest thing I've ever done, bro, is like reach down to somebody that fucking needs help and pick them up and not judge them for fucking any mishaps or fucking fallings or any character defects or shortcomings. That's the manliest shit, bro. The manliest shit I do, bro, is like when I get frustrated in the car and my head tells me get the fuck out and, you know what I'm saying, like show this motherfucker, like I get to say, you know what, it's not worth it today, right? That's the manliest shit, bro, that I fucking do, right? Raising my kids, right, Mike? Yeah. Like I see Mike, bro. Mike's a fucking great example of that, bro. I see, you know what I'm saying? He's like,
I don't feel like that always, but
bro, you know what? Like, we don't get to run today.
Yeah.
No matter how painful, how uncomfortable, how upsetting life could be sometimes, bro. Like, we don't have to run and hide in a bottle, right? You don't have to like neglect your kids because sometimes they're overwhelming. Yeah. Right? Like you don't get to fucking mistreat people. Right, because they're not behaving the way that you want them to behave. Yeah. If you catch my drift, right? Like, like we get to like stand on something. Mm-hmm. And for me, I think that's like the basis of my recovery. Right, reframing my thought of what a man's supposed to be, and then living up to that, bro. Or at least doing my best to live up to that. It's super important for me, bro. I remember I was in treatment. And one of my counselors, she's like, Adam, you're always so gung-ho about being a man. Why don't you just try to be a good human? And I'm really grateful I didn't listen to her, right? Because for me, this is just me. It's important for me to be a man. It's important for when I walk in my home, I'm a man, bro. It's important when I go to work that I'm a man. When it's important for me when I go to a meeting that I'm a man. Not the man, just a man, a good man. right? Someone that my son could look up to, someone that my daughters, you know what I'm saying, will value and be like, you know, if you don't have these morals and values like my dad does, then maybe you're not the right person for me. You know what I'm saying? If you can't treat me the way my dad treated me growing up, right, then maybe you're not the guy for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's important for me, bro.
Yeah. You know, one of the things I just want to clear up too is, you know, through this process and doing it in order and taking suggestion and going to meetings and different things, you know, some of the pluses now is that after the 5 to 6 years of not talking to my father, I do have an amazing relationship with him, and he has a higher power as well. And I've seen the work that he's changed. We have a father-son, like, because of this program, I'm able to be a son. I'm able to be a brother. I'm able to be, somewhat good boyfriend. You know, I love one woman, right?
Yeah.
It's changed me, and I'm so grateful for the process. I don't know everything. I want to say that. I still consider myself a newcomer. I want to stay open-minded and willing and honest, which hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts being honest.
Yeah.
You know, and I wouldn't have changed anything in this process. You know, thank God I'm still at that job. You know, in my eyes, my higher power wants me to be there for a reason. And I'm a good employee. You know, my life has done a full turn. I've done the DUI courts, paid, you know, put myself in a pretty deep financial hole. And without a higher power, I couldn't have done it. Without the, you know, surrendering my will to the care of God, you know, I wouldn't have been able to do this. Without the support, without being willing to pick up the phone when it feels like it's 100 pounds. For a sponsee brother, for my sponsor, whichever, or it's been a beautiful experience. My oldest sister, we have a great relationship. I get to talk to my niece and nephew over the phone, and because they live kind of far now. And this whole experience has been a blessing tenfold. 8 years of living in survival. And I wanted to touch on this because this is the step that I'm on right now, is step 12. It talks about, I think it's towards the end, it talks about a refreshed spirit, and we're glad to be alive. And I feel that today, bro. It's a blessing. Like, I wake up, bro, I'm brushing my teeth, I'm not loaded, I'm not drinking before I go to work. Like, I don't have to be worried about being on the road and looking for cops. And like, am I paranoid? You know, am I going to lose this or that? Or do I just, the insanity has been arrested. The disease has been arrested, but just one day at a time, right? Yeah. And this program is, you know, I'm in debt. You know, I know that after working, you know, I'm gonna work this step. That I have a responsibility. Yep. And it's a you know, and that's just my experience, and you know, to be of service to this higher power in the program, this roadmap to you know, to my higher power is the steps, and I'm in debt, bro, to this program. Yeah. So
thank you, Rory. That was dope.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah.
So I have a question for you. One last question. If you could give one piece of advice to somebody who's struggling, maybe still getting loaded, doesn't know where to start, maybe coming off of a relapse, what would that be?
Do your best to stay willing. Willing opens the door to recovery. Willing to listen. Willing to go to a meeting. Willing to call your sponsor. Willing to read the Just for Today. Or just willing enough to go 5-10 more minutes without picking up. That's it.
Sometimes that's
so. Yeah. I would keep it. All that falls under the umbrella, but just do your best to stay willing.
Nice.
Well, that was fire. Yeah, that was good, man. Thank you, Warrior, for coming on, bro.
Thank you guys for having me.
Love you, bro. If you guys are listening, man, make sure you guys tune in next week where we have another addict, alcoholic, or anything like that coming on to share their story. If you haven't already, be sure to follow us on IG, which is the Messages Hope Podcast _ between each word. And yeah, for updates and all that stuff.
And also, if you have somebody that you feel would be a good guest for the podcast, you can reach out to us in the comments, through the Instagram, or you can email us, themessageshopepodcast@gmail.com.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, share this with an addict or an alcoholic or anybody who's struggling that needs to hear Warrior's message.
All right, we'll see you next week.
Thinking of my life looking for the right state of mind to get my time right. I just hope my time's right. Lost up in the limelight, but you'll never know unless you walked up in my shoes.
As someone who struggled with addiction in the past, how does it feel to be able to give hope to others who are still struggling now?
It's such an honor to be able to hear other people's experiences of life, to see how when faced with the very thing that was sent to destroy you, kill you, and take you off forever didn't, but rather you have been given a second chance to give hope and be a light for those who are still in the dark. So don't be afraid to share your message to the world. You never know whose life you might be saving.